done fighting till the battle's won and the army goes rolling.
All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen. I'm from Golden State Times. I'm the host of the stream, and I'd like to welcome you to another live event of President Trump giving a speech at the White House. Today, we are going to see President Trump talk about the environment. So he is set to deliver a speech on America's environmental leadership. This event is going to take place at the White House. There's some sources that President Trump is going to highlight the fact that the United States has become the world's biggest oil and gas producer, exporting oil and gas to all over the world. President Trump has talked about this in many speeches, saying that basically America is back and we're not relying on foreign oil and gas. We're pretty much using our own, and also we are exporting now more than before. So it says that the speech will also mark the EPA's formal completion of the Affordable Clean Energy Rule to encourage efficiency from coal-fired power plants. It says it replaces the Obama administration's Clean Power Plan, a significant climate change measure that would have forced those utilities to shut down coal plants. So coal mining was a very big thing that President Trump ran on in 2016. The Democrats wanted to shut down every single one of our coal plants, but President Trump said, nope, we're putting coal back to work. We're putting all of these people that got displaced, fired, when the coal companies started to shut down. The coal plants are starting to go back up. People are starting to go back to work, and that was a really big thing that President Trump campaigned on. And one of the many issues that President Trump won the presidency over is because he knew that a lot of people were losing their jobs, about to lose their jobs, or had already lost their jobs. And over so many years, all of those people were displaced and they couldn't find jobs in the area. So President Trump campaigned on that, and that was one of the issues that really got him closer to the White House and eventually did get him into the White House. That one issue, out of many other big issues like immigration, security, the military, the veterans, and stuff like that. So we're just got to see what President Trump is also going to talk about later on today. As of right now, we just have a few points that President Trump is going to be focusing on, but the whole speech in full, we don't know what President Trump is going to really say. But President Trump should be coming out very soon. We're going to get footage from inside the White House in just a few moments, so make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. Make sure you guys please share this live stream on social media. That's all we ask for. We don't ask for much, but what we do ask for, if you can share this live stream on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on Reddit, on any of those social media sites. I'm going to be sending notifications to anyone that didn't get a notification from YouTube for this live stream. So if you get a text message from us that we are live and you're already here, then make sure you guys share it with somebody else. That way they know that President Trump is set to speak at the White House in just a few moments. Thank you so much, folks. And I will see you on the chat.
The First Lady and I wish each and every one of you a happy Independence Day on this truly historic 4th of July. Today we come together as one nation with this very special salute to America. We celebrate our history, our people, and the heroes who proudly defend our flag, the brave men and women of the United States military. We are pleased to have with us Vice President Mike Pence and his wonderful wife, Karen. We're also joined by many hardworking members of Congress, Acting Secretary of Defense Mark Esper, and many other members of my cabinet, and also the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joe Dunford. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Lieutenant General Daniel Hawkinson of the National Guard, and distinguished leaders representing each branch of the United States Armed Forces, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Marines, and very soon, the Space Force. As we gather this evening, in the joy of freedom, we remember that all share a truly extraordinary heritage. Together, we are part of one of the greatest stories ever told, the story of America. It is the epic tale of a great nation whose people have risked everything for what they know is right and what they know is true. It is the chronicle of brave citizens who never give up on the dream of a better and brighter future. And it is the saga of 13 separate colonies that united to form the most just and virtuous republic ever conceived. On this day, 243 years ago, our founding fathers pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to declare independence and defend our God-given rights. Thomas Jefferson wrote the words that forever changed the course of humanity. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With a single sheet of parchment and 56 signatures, America began the greatest political journey in human history. But on that day, the Patriots, who would determine the ultimate success of the struggle, were 100 miles away in New York. There, the Continental Army prepared to make its stand, commanded by the beloved General George Washington. As the delegates debated the Declaration in Philadelphia, Washington's army watched from Manhattan as a massive British invading fleet loomed dangerously across New York Harbor. The British had come to crush the revolution in its infancy. Washington's message to his troops laid bare the stakes. He wrote, "The fate of unborn millions will now depend under God on the courage and conduct of this army. We have therefore to resolve to conquer or die." Days later, General Washington ordered the Declaration read aloud to the troops. The assembled soldiers just joined an excited crowd running down Broadway. They toppled a statue of King George and melted it into bullets for battle. The faraway king would soon learn a timeless lesson about the people of this majestic land. Americans love our freedom, and no one will ever take it away from us. That same American spirit that emboldened our founders has kept us strong throughout our history. To this day, that spirit runs through the veins of every American patriot. It lives on in each and every one of you here today. It is the spirit, daring and defiance, excellence and adventure, courage and confidence, loyalty and love that built this country into the most exceptional nation in the history of the world, and our nation is stronger today than it ever was before. It is its strongest now. That same righteous American spirit forged our glorious Constitution. That rugged American character led the legendary explorers Lewis and Clark on their perilous expedition across an untamed continent. It drove others to journey west and stake out their claim on the wild frontier. Devotion to our founding ideals led American patriots to abolish the evil of slavery, secure civil rights, and expand the blessings of liberty to all Americans. This is the noble purpose that inspired Abraham Lincoln to rededicate our nation to a new birth of freedom and to resolve that we will always have a government of, by, and for the people. Our quest for greatness unleashed a culture of discovery that led Thomas Edison to imagine his light bulb, Alexander Graham Bell to create the telephone, the Wright brothers to look to the sky and see the next great frontier. For Americans, nothing is impossible. Exactly 50 years ago this month, the world watched in awe as Apollo 11 astronauts launched into space with a wake of fire and nerves of steel and planted our great American flag on the face of the moon. Half a century later, we are thrilled to have here tonight the famed NASA flight director who led mission control during that historic endeavor, the renowned Gene Kranz. Gene, I want you to know that we're going to be back on the moon very soon, and someday soon we will plant the American flag on Mars. It's happening, Gene. It's happening. Our nation's creativity and genius lit up the lights of Broadway and the sound stages of Hollywood. It filled the concert halls and airwaves around the world with the sound of jazz, opera, country, rock and roll, and rhythm and blues. It gave birth to the musical, the motion picture, the Western, the World Series, the Super Bowl, the skyscraper, the suspension bridge, the assembly line, and the mighty American automobile. It led our citizens to push the
All right, folks, I'm just giving a quick update. We're going to be switching over to the White House in just a few moments as President Trump is going to be coming out very soon to deliver his speech on the environment. But I was reading some of the comments on on the chat about the Epstein case, and like I was saying, both Pelosi's family member and also the daughter. Hold on, give me 1 second. So Maureen Comey, which is the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, is reportedly the prosecutor in the Jeffrey Epstein case. So not only is Jeffrey Epstein going to be protected by James Comey's daughter, which she is the prosecutor, and she's also going to be he is also going to be protected by Nancy Pelosi's family member that is also involved in the case. So James Comey's family member and also Nancy Pelosi's family member, they're both going to protect Jeffrey Epstein. I just wanted to bring that up to you guys. You guys can find a report on it on Law and Crime, lawandcrime.com. There's a report on there that says, guess whose daughter is reportedly a prosecutor in the Jeffrey Epstein case, and it ends up being Maureen Comey. So just today they came out with a press conference talking about all the charges that Epstein is facing and stuff like that in New York. So we just have to see what's going to happen with that. There's also a stakeout right now outside of the court where Epstein has pleaded. And that is going to be coming up later on today. So if we're able to get footage on that, we're going to be uploading it later on the channel. But I just wanted to bring that information over to you guys so you guys know what's going on. There's a lot of people, these people that are protecting this guy. And it's very bad. And it could, if they get away with it, if Pelosi's family members and what's it called, and James Comey's family members let him get away with it, that's going to create a whole different issue. But who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Only the future will tell. But we just wanted to let you guys know that not only James Comey's daughter is going to be the prosecutor, but also Nancy Pelosi's family members are also involved in this case. Thank you so much. We'll be switching over in just a few moments. Thank you so much.
Bounds of medicine and science to save the lives of millions. Here with us this evening is Dr. Emanuel Freireich. When Emanuel began his work, 99% of children with leukemia died. Thanks largely to Dr. Freireich's breakthrough treatments, currently 90% of those with the most common childhood leukemias survive. Doctor, you are a great American hero. Thank you. Americans always take care of each other. That love and unity held together the first pilgrims. It forged communities on the Great Plains. It inspired Clara Barton to found the Red Cross, and it keeps our nation thriving today. Here tonight, from the Florida Panhandle, is Tina Belcher. Her selfless generosity over 3 decades has made her known to all as Mrs. Angel. Every time a hurricane strikes, Mrs. Angel turns her tiny kitchen into a disaster relief center. On a single day after Hurricane Michael, she gave 476 people a warm meal. Mrs. Angel, your boundless heart inspires us all. Thank you. Thank you very much. From our earliest days, Americans of faith have uplifted our nation. This evening, we are joined by Sister Deirdre Byrne. Sister Byrne is a retired Army surgeon who served for nearly 30 years. On September 11th, 2001, the sister raced to Ground Zero. Through smoke and debris, she administered first aid and comfort to all. Today, Sister Byrne runs a medical clinic serving the poor in our nation's capital. Sister, thank you for your lifetime of service. Thank you. Our nation has always honored the heroes who serve our communities. The firefighters, first responders, police, sheriffs, ICE, Border Patrol, and all of the brave men and women of law enforcement. On this July 4th, we pay special tribute to the military service members who laid down their lives for our nation. we are deeply moved to be in the presence this evening of Gold Star families whose loved ones made the supreme sacrifice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Throughout our history, our country has been made ever greater by citizens who risked it all for equality and for justice. 100 years ago this summer, the women's suffrage movement led Congress to pass the constitutional amendment giving women the right to vote. In 1960, a thirst for justice led African-American students to sit down at the Woolworth lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. It was one of the very first civil rights sit-ins, and it started a movement all across our nation. Clarence Henderson was 18 years old when he took his place in history. Almost 6 decades later, he is here tonight in a seat of honor. Clarence, thank you for making this country a much better place for all Americans. In 1963, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. stood here on these very steps and called on our nation to live out the true meaning of its creed and let freedom ring for every citizen all across our land. America's fearless resolve has inspired heroes who defined our national character, from George Washington, John Adams, and Betsy Ross to Douglas, you know, Frederick Douglass, the great Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Amelia Earhart, Douglas MacArthur, Dwight Eisenhower, Jackie Robinson, and, of course, John Glenn. It has willed our warriors up mountains and across minefields. It has liberated continents, split the atom, and brought tyrants and empires to their knees. Here with us this evening is Earl Morse. After retiring from the Air Force, Earl worked at a VA hospital in Ohio. Earl found that many World War II veterans could not afford to visit their memorial on the National Mall. So Earl began the very first honor flights that have now brought over 200,000 World War II heroes to visit America's monument. Earl, thank you. We salute you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Earl. Thank you. Thank you. Our warriors from a hallowed roll call of American patriots running all the way back to the first souls who fought and won American independence. Today, just as it did 243 years ago, the future of American freedom rests on the shoulders of men and women willing to defend it. We are proudly joined tonight by heroes from each branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, including 3 recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor. Thank you. They and thousands before us served with immense distinction, and they loved every minute of that service. To young Americans across our country, now is your chance to join our military and make a truly great statement in life, and you should do it. We will now begin our celebration of the United States Armed Forces. honoring each branch's unique culture, rich history, service song, and distinct legacy. I invite Acting Secretary.
All right, folks, so we are set to switch over in just a few moments, but I'm going to be giving shout outs to everyone that is sharing the live stream on social media. It looks like not much people know about this speech. So if you guys can please help us by sharing this live stream on social media, because this is very important, folks. It is very important, but maybe a lot of people don't know that it's happening. So make sure you guys please share this live stream on social media. I want to give a quick thank you to Carol and also Nexus Cube for your support in sharing the live stream. Also, we have Your Days Are Numbered here. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. And I think, let's see if that is it. If you guys share the live stream on Facebook or Twitter, I'll give you guys a quick shout out as a thank you for your support. We don't ask for much, folks, but we do ask for is if you can share the live stream on social media, and that helps us out a lot. And it keeps us here on YouTube. It keeps us live here on YouTube. So President Trump should be coming out very, very soon. So make sure you guys please share this live stream. You click the thumbs up button and stay tuned because it's set to begin very soon. Thank you so much.
Secretary, please, Mark Esper, Secretary of Defense, and Chairman Dunford, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, please join me. In August of 1790, by request of George Washington and Alexander Hamilton, Congress established a fleet of 10 swift vessels to defend our shores. These revenue cutters would fight pirates, stop smugglers, and safeguard our borders. They are the ancestors of our faithful Coast Guard. When our ships were seized and sailors kidnapped by foreign powers in 1812, it was a revenue cutter, the swift schooner Thomas Jefferson, that swept in to capture the first British vessel of the war. In 1897, when 265 whalers were trapped in ice and the ice fields of Alaska were closing up, courageous officers trekked 1,500 miles through the frozen frontier to rescue those starving men from certain death. In 1942, the Coast Guard manned landing craft for invasions in the Pacific. When the enemy attacked U.S. Marines from the shores of Guadalcanal, Coast Guard Signalman First Class Douglas Munro used his own boat to shield his comrades from pounding gunfire. Munro gave his life. Hundreds of Marines were saved. As he lay dying on the deck, his final question embodied devotion that sails with every Coast Guardsman. Did they get off? On D-Day, the Coast Guard's famous Matchbox fleet served valiantly through every hour of the greatest amphibious invasion in the history of our country. One coxswain said the water boiled with bullets like a mud puddle in hailstorm, but still the Coast Guard braved death to put our boys on Utah and Omaha beaches. Every Coast Guardsman is trusted to put service before all. Coasties plunge from helicopters and barrel through pouring rain and crashing waves to save American lives. They secure our borders from drug runners and terrorists in rough seas, at high speeds. Their sharpshooters take out smugglers' engines with a single shot. They never miss. When the red racing stripes of a Coast Guard vessel break the horizon, when their chopper blades pierce the sky, those in distress know that the help is on their way, and our enemies know their time has come. These guardians of our waters stand semper paratus. They are always ready. They are the United States Coast Guard. Representing the Coast Guard today, you will soon see an HH-60 Jayhawk helicopter based at Coast Guard Air Station Clearwater, along with an HH-65 Dolphin from Air Station Atlantic City and an HC-144 Ocean Sentry from Air Station Miami.
We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through surf and storm and howling gale, Thy shall our purpose be. Semper paratus is our guide, our fame and glory too. To fight, to save or fight, and die by Coast Guard we are for you. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through surf and storm and howling gale, Thy shall our purpose be. Semper paratus is our guide, our fame and glory too. To fight, to save or fight, and die by Coast Guard we are for you.
Thank you. Thank you to the Coast Guard. On a cold December morning in 1903, a miracle occurred over the dunes of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, when two bicycle makers from Ohio defied gravity with a 12-horsepower engine, wings made of cotton, and just a few dollars in their pockets. Just 6 years later, America was training its first pilots to take these magnificent machines up and over the field of battle. In World War I, our flyboys rushed the skies of Europe, and aces like Eddie Rickenbacker filled hearts and headlines with tales of daring duels in the clouds. General Billy Mitchell saw the promise of this technology and risked court-martial in his quest for an independent Air Force. He was proven right when empires across the oceans tried to carve up the world for themselves, and America stood in the way. We wouldn't let it happen. After Pearl Harbor, Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle and his raiders flew B-25 bombers off a carrier deck in the deep Pacific in a daring feat of American resolve. And as President Roosevelt said, the Nazis built a fortress around Europe, but they forgot to put.
All right, folks, so we have footage from inside the White House. We're going to be switching it over right now. It just took us a little bit longer because they didn't allow the cameras to be turned on. But now they did, folks. So we are switching over right now in a second. President Trump, once again, this is the administration's environmental leadership speech that President Trump is going to be delivering in just a few moments. I'm also going to be switching on the hot mic. Hopefully we have it on here. But we'll check if we have the hot mic on. Oh, it looks like they have copyrighted music. So they have copyrighted music on. So we'll put on our own music so that way we don't get in trouble with YouTube. Like always, they're always trying to do something in order to take us down. But we are not going to give them a reason why. So that's the only thing they're waiting for, folks. They're only waiting for a reason to terminate our account. But we're not going to give them that reason. We're going to stay here. We're going to cover the president fairly So make sure you guys share this live stream on social media. Thank you so much, folks. I'll be giving shout outs in just a few moments to see anyone that is sharing the live stream on social media. And I'll give them a quick shout out here, but in just a few moments. Thank you so much.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cages loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the games on its run. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
All right, folks. So we're going to be giving shout outs here to everyone that is sharing the live stream on Facebook and Twitter. We're going to be starting off with April B. Thank you so much for your support in sharing the live stream. We also have Peggy Holly. Thank you so much for your support in sharing the live stream on social media. Let's see. We also have Bucky Paul 01. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. We have Sleepy Joe. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. That's funny, Sleepy Joe. Let's see, who else do we have on here, folks? We have Tina Angelo. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Mona, thank you so much, Mona, for sharing the live stream. We also have Forrest and Dee. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. Larry Nunya, thank you so much for sharing the live stream. And we also have Trish M. Thank you so much for sharing the stream on social media, Trish. We also have Relief Care Thomas and C-Mac. Also Cynthia and Jesse, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We have Fred Supports Trump and Sista Nakoi. I hope I said that right. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Eric Ford and also AG, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We also have D Monarch de Leon. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. And Shane, thank you so much, Shane, for sharing the live stream. Sparky1833, thank you so much for your continued support and for sharing the live stream on social media. Jeff, also Jeff W, thank you so much for your support in sharing the live stream. We have Bateman 66 MRS or 66 Miss. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Little Rivers, thank you so much for sharing the live stream. News Farm, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. Carol and Nexus Cube, thank you so much for sharing the live stream. All right, folks, as you guys can see, everybody's coming in. All the guests are coming in and taking their seats. President Trump is set to come out very soon. So make sure you guys please share this live stream on social media and click the thumbs up button for, that's a lot of support for us. So we need your help now more than ever before. So make sure you guys give this live stream a thumbs up and say hello in the chat. Don't be shy. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you very much. Great to have you, and I hope you all had a truly wonderful Independence Day weekend. In spite of the heavy rain, and it was really heavy, we had a remarkable salute to America on the National Mall. It was incredible, actually. Standing on the steps of the great Lincoln Memorial and looking out on the crowds, these incredible, big, beautiful crowds, braving the weather all the way back to the Washington Monument, we celebrated freedom in all of its magnificence while saluting our great military. It was something really special. And I will say this, it was a wonderful day for all Americans, and based on its tremendous success, we're just making the decision, and I think we can say we've made the decision to do it again next year, and maybe we can say for the foreseeable future. As we celebrate our nation's founding, we're reminded once more of our profound obligation to protect America's extraordinary blessings for the next generation and many generations, frankly, to come. Among the heritage we must preserve is our country's incredible natural splendor. That is the shared obligation that brings us together today. We have some incredibly talented people that know environment and what we're doing probably better than any people on earth. From day one, my administration has made it a top priority to ensure that America is among the very cleanest air and cleanest water on the planet. We want the cleanest air. We want crystal clean water, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we're working on so hard. For this afternoon's event, we're pleased to be joined by Secretary Steve Mnuchin. Steve, thank you very much. David Bernhardt. David, thank you. Secretary Wilbur Ross. Thank you, Wilbur. Secretary Alex Azar. Alex, great job. Drug prices are coming down. I see it. Proud of you. Secretary Elaine Chao. Elaine, thank you. Administrator Andrew Wheeler. Andrew, thank you. And Chair of the Council of Environmental Quality, Mary Newmeyer. Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much. In a few moments, we'll hear an update on some of their very important work. Also with us are Senators Kevin Cramer, Steve Daines, John Barrasso. These are three great senators, I might add. Perhaps I'm a little prejudiced because I like them very much, but they're great senators. Thank you. Thank you, fellas. And Congressman Bruce Westerman, and thank you, Bruce, for being here. Appreciate it very much. Thank you all for being here. As the cabinet secretaries will tell you, from the very beginning, I've given them clear direction to focus on addressing environmental challenges so we can provide the highest quality of life to all Americans. In addition to clean air and clean water, that means being good stewards of our public lands, prioritizing cleanup of polluted lands that threaten our most vulnerable citizens and threaten them very dearly, and implementing pro-growth policies to unlock innovation and new technologies which improve American life and America's environment. So important. These are incredible goals that everyone in this country should be able to rally behind, and they have rallied behind, and they've rallied behind in a very Republican and Democrat way. I really think that's something that is bipartisan. For years, politicians told Americans that a strong economy and a vibrant energy sector were incompatible with a healthy environment. In other words, one thing doesn't go with the other, and that's wrong, because we're proving the exact opposite. A strong economy is vital to maintaining a healthy environment. When we innovate, produce, and grow, we're able to unleash technologies and processes that make the environment better while reshoring. And so importantly, you look at reshoring production all the way, taking it away from foreign polluters and back to American soil. The previous administration waged a relentless war on American energy. We can't do that. They sought to punish our workers, our producers, and manufacturers with ineffective global agreements that allowed the world's worst polluting countries to continue their practices. These radical plans would not make the world cleaner. They would just make and put Americans out of work, and they put them out of work rapidly. They moved production to foreign countries with lower standards. Our companies were forced to do that, and they didn't want to do that, and they drive up the price of gas and electricity at home and drive it to levels that are literally unaffordable. And by the way, that's happening to many other countries, but it's not happening here. Other countries, their pricing on electricity is so high, not even to be affordable. At our level, we are doing numbers that nobody's seen before. Nobody believes what we're doing and what we're producing electricity and other things for. Punishing Americans is never the right way to produce a better environment or a better economy. We've rejected this failed approach, and we're seeing incredible results. Since the election, we have created more than 6 million new jobs. Nobody would have believed that. I don't think anybody, Kevin, nobody. If I would have said that during the campaign, it wouldn't have been a pretty picture the next day as I read the headlines. 6 million new jobs. Unemployment has reached the lowest rate in a half a century. And we have more people working today than have ever worked in the history of our country. We're getting very close to 160 million people, which is unthinkable. If you go back 3 years and you said 160 million people, they would say unthinkable. We're unlocking American energy, and the United States is now a net exporter of clean, affordable American natural gas. We're exporting all over the world. And today, the United States is ranked, listen to this, #1 in the world for access to clean drinking water. Ranked #1 in the world. One of the main messages of air pollution, particulate matter, is 6 times lower here than the global average. So we hear so much about some countries and what everyone is doing. We're 6 times lower than the average. That's a tremendous number. Since 2000, our nation's energy-related carbon emissions have declined more than any other country on Earth. Think of that. Emissions are projected to drop in 2019 and 2020. We're doing a very tough job, and not everybody knows it, and that's one of the reasons we're here today to speak to you. Every single one of the signatories to the Paris Climate Accord lags behind America in overall emissions reductions. Who would think that is possible? For this reason, in my first year in office, I withdrew the United States from the unfair, ineffective, and very, very expensive Paris Climate Accord. Thank you. Thank you. My administration is now revising the past administration's misguided regulations to better protect the environment and to protect our American workers, so importantly. As an example, there is a very good place for solar energy. I'm a believer in solar energy. It hasn't fully developed. It's got a long way to go, but it's really got a tremendous future. The United States does not have to sacrifice our own jobs to lead the world on the environment. My administration set the new global standard for environmental protections with unprecedented provisions in the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement, commonly referred to as the USMCA, which includes the first ever provisions to take on the challenge of marine litter and debris. And I'm sure you've all seen by watching televisions, by maybe reading about it, it's a tremendous problem. Thousands and thousands of tons of this debris float onto our shores after it's dumped into the oceans by other countries. The tides come to us. Usually that was a good thing, but this isn't so good. This is a tremendous problem. Thousands and thousands of tons of garbage comes to us. Well, we're focused on practical solutions. More than 100 Democrats in Congress now support the so-called Green New Deal. Their plan is estimated to cost our economy nearly $100 trillion, a number unthinkable, a number not affordable even in the best of times. If you go 150 years from now and we've had great success, that's not a number that's even thought to be affordable. Kill millions of jobs, it'll crush the dreams of the poorest Americans and disproportionately harm minority communities. I will not stand for it. We will defend the environment, but we will also defend American sovereignty, American prosperity, and we will defend American jobs. We've refocused the EPA back on its core mission, and last year the agency completed more Superfund hazardous waste cleanups than any year of the previous administrations and set records in almost every year. We have done tremendous work on Superfunds. To name just two examples, we've made great strides cleaning up damage near a paper plant in Kalamazoo, Michigan, something that was beyond fix-up. They thought it was never going to happen, and also the Westlake landfill in Missouri. This year, we've also directed $65 million in brownfield grants to clean up even more contaminated sites in 149 American communities. Think of that, the vast majority home to lower-income citizens. That's some project. That is some project, and for the first time in nearly 30 years, we're in the process of strengthening national drinking water standards to protect vulnerable children from lead and copper exposure, something that has not been done, and we're doing it. And last month, our EPA took the first major action, nearly 2 decades, to reduce exposure to lead-contaminated dust. I signed America's Water Infrastructure Act along with these great gentlemen right here. We worked very hard on that, very, very hard, and it wasn't easy, to further approve and improve drinking water infrastructure and support other critical projects. Our administration has directed over $500 million to fix Lake Okeechobee, the Herbert Hoover Dike. I was out there 3 months ago with your new great governor and senator, actually, from Florida. We had our 2 senators. We had Rick Scott, Marco Rubio, and our great new governor, Ron DeSantis. We were all out, and we made a certain commitment, and the commitment has already taken place, and they're fixed in Lake Okeechobee. People are very happy about it in the Florida Everglades. We're restoring the ecosystems in the Everglades. And I also signed legislation authorizing $100 million to fight red tide, a big problem that some people don't know about, but when you do know about it, that means trouble because it is bad. And other toxic algae that damages coastal areas, it's causing tremendous havoc, and we have a way of straightening it out, and we'll get it done. We're joined today by Bruce Robach, owner of Billy Bones Bait and Tackle in Port St. Lucie, a place I know very well, Florida. His business was devastated by toxic algae from Lake Okeechobee. Bruce, please come up and tell us about what's happened and what we're doing for you. Where is Bruce? Oh, Bruce, hi, Bruce. Hey, Bruce.
Really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you very much.
Hello, how are you all today? All right, we had made a big trip up here to make sure we're here. This is very important. This is my family's business, okay? I've owned the bait and tackle store since 2001 and been in Florida since 2006. I have my son Tanner over here with me. He means the world to me. He's my best friend and my son. He's actually a brain cancer survivor that, you know, he beat it and now he's 21 and thank you. I wanted to say, thank you. I wanted to say that, Mr. President, you're not only doing a tremendous job all the way around, but you jumping into this environment brings my heart to warmth, knowing that what you're doing is the truth. It's going wonderfully. My business in 2018 was so horrible. I own 2 stores. We closed several days a week because of, you know, the algae and people being frightened if they were afraid to touch the water and everything. I have a marine mechanic, I just wanted to say really quickly, has a bad infection in his arm from the marine algae and stuff. But basically, your completion of this Herbert Hoover dike is going to make a tremendous difference because we can store more water in Lake Okeechobee, safely store it there so the residents that are around there are safe. We care and we're concerned about them, us on the coast, believe me, and that the water does not go into the Caloosahatchee, into the St. Lucie estuary. It's full of contaminants and fertilizers. And Mr. President, you mentioned about the red tide. It is a natural occurrence. This fertilizer and all these contaminants is like a superpower. And we have seen devastation on the West Coast like none other before in 2018. So, I mean, I'm just so grateful for all the work you're doing, sir, and everything, and the Everglades restoration. And also, I heard great news that the dike is going to be finished much sooner, 2022 than expected. So, I personally want to thank you because this year they're not dumping, our businesses are doing better. My wife don't yell at me as much. Well, that always happens. So. Yeah, she says to me, you're going to be by the president talking, and I says, oh, I don't need no list or whatever. I got a big mouth. I talk. I don't care. I'm proud. I'm proud of who I am and what I am. I'm a licensed charter boat captain, and I've done it since I'm 25 years old. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you for everything you're doing, sir. I speak for so many people. You bring my heart to warmth for everything you're doing and all the way around. And sir, my nephew, thank you all. My nephew, Kenny Robach, is like my son. He is in South Korea right now in the Army, and he's doing things, and he is so proud of you and those boys. They all just, I've never seen people that are so proud of our president, and I'm amazed. I mean, we stayed up to watch you that day when you got elected. We're like, he's got it. So I'm sorry, I'm telling the truth. Listen, my dad taught me, don't tell no lies, and when you want me to shut up, I will, but I'm telling the truth. And Dad always say, I look a little like Donald Trump. He did a little bit, but you're much handsomer. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. I work in the towers over there for Val Flores so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir. You have no idea how many people appreciate everything you've done. I mean, thank you so much.
Really nice.
I really
appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And I want to say one final thing. I got a big mouth. God bless America and God bless our president. Give him a hand. Trump 2020.
Thank you, Bruce. Wow. Well, that was unexpected. We appreciate it, Bruce. That's better than any speechwriter I could get, right? Who am I going to get like that? I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Chris. Earlier this year, I also signed the Save Our Seas Act to protect our oceans from waste and pollution. To improve water access worldwide, we're supporting the development of breakthrough technologies with the Department of Energy's Water Security Grand Challenge. My administration is strongly promoting bipartisan solutions for conservation, and we're really getting along very well with the Democrats on that one. We're getting things done. This year, I signed the largest public lands package in a decade, designating 1.3 million acres, that's a lot of land, of new wilderness and expanding recreational access. In December, I signed a historic executive order promoting much more active forest management to prevent catastrophic wildfires like those that recently devastated California and Oregon. I went to the fires in California and I said, it's also management. It's a lot of things happening, but it's management. You can't have dirty floors. You can't have 20 years of leaves and fallen trees. After the first 17 months, they say the tree is like a piece of tinder. You have to be very careful, so you can't have that. That's why you have so many fires. And I will say this, spoke with the governor of California, spoke with many people, and the process of cleaning is now really taking precedent. A lot of people are looking at forest management. It's a word that people didn't understand last year, and now they're getting it. And you don't have to have any forest fires. It's interesting. I spoke to certain countries, and they said, sir, we're a forest nation. I never thought of a country, well-known countries. We're a forest nation. I never heard of the term forest nation. They live in forests, and they don't have problems. One was telling me that his trees are much more susceptible to fire than what they have in California, but they don't have fires because they manage, they clean, they do what you have to do. There's not so much to burn, and we're going to start doing that. And it's called, remember, management. It's called forest management, so it's a very important term. When I went to California, they sort of scoffed at me for the first 2 weeks and maybe 3 weeks and not so much 4 weeks. And after about 5 weeks, they said, you know, he's right. He's right. So I think you're going to see a lot of good things. It's a lot of area, it's a lot of land, but a lot of tremendous things are happening. We're joined today by Colleen Roberts, a county commissioner from Jackson County, Oregon. Colleen, please come up and tell us a little bit about your approach on forest management and all of the community work you've done. It's been so successful. Please. Thank you very much.
So I want to thank our President Trump and your administration, sir, for this opportunity, this great opportunity to be here today and speak on this very important issue, and in support of your executive order to reduce the hazardous fuel loads in our federal forests. Jackson County, the county I am from, Southern Oregon, comprises about 50% of federal lands to be managed by our federal agencies. And previous administrations have allowed these lands to be mismanaged and thus are burdened with the heavy fuel loads. Wildland fire policies also allowing management objectives to be attained through prescribed burning during our fire season is flawed. Our board has studied and successfully shared information with neighboring counties and NACO, the National Association of Counties, in an effort to achieve wildland fire policy changes. We've suffered through years of hazardous wildfire conditions, and during toxic smoke events for the past 2 years, that endured not just for a day, but 3 and 4 months on end, and it has adversely affected the health of our residents and our economy. Fuels reduction through the executive order that our president has put forth and fire policies can work together for healthy forests and public lands that our citizens deserve. In all of this and more, you, President Trump, have become a friend and the biggest ally to the counties in this great country. And I'm here to say thank you and support you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colleen. And I also spoke with the governor of California about helping out with the earthquakes, and we'll be doing that. We're working very closely in California with the various representatives, and we're making a lot of progress. That was something that was a long time, a lot of shock, a lot of shake, and we are helping out, and so we're working with government. And all across the nation, our policies are ensuring that extreme agendas do not stand in the way of responsible use of public lands. We're getting Washington bureaucrats off of their backs, and we want to make sure that they go out and help our hunters and our fishers and farmers and everyone, and they want to do it. They're going to do it, and they want to do it. Everybody that endures and really loves the great outdoors, in the proud tradition of conservation that the Republican Party inherits from Teddy Roosevelt, we will preserve this land for our magnificent people. That's what we're doing. We're preserving our land. We're making our land better and cleaner and safer. Now I'd like to invite Administrator Andrew Wheeler up. He's at the EPA. He's doing a fantastic job, and he's keeping America clean, and we appreciate it very much. Andrew, please come up.
Thank you, President Trump, for your leadership and the opportunity to share our environmental progress with the American public. When you asked me to take the lead at EPA 1 year ago, you asked me to do 3 things: continue to clean up the air, continue to clean up the water, and continue to provide regulatory relief to keep the economy growing. The President knows we can do all 3 at the same time. And here's the evidence. From 1970 to 2018, U.S. criteria air pollution fell 74%, while the economy grew by 275%. Under your administration, emissions of all the criteria air pollutants continue to decline. For example, yes. For example, the lead and sulfur dioxide have dropped by double-digit percentages over the last 2 years. Today, we have the cleanest air on record, and we are a global leader for access to clean drinking water. We are making tremendous environmental progress under President Trump, and the public needs to know that. Pollution is on the decline, and our focus is to accelerate its decline, particularly in the most at-risk communities. There may be no better example than our renewed focus on Superfund, the federal program that cleans up large, hazardous sites. In the past, it wasn't unusual for a site to sit on the Superfund National Priorities List for decades. We believe that a site on the National Priorities List should be just that, a national priority. Our actions demonstrate that. In fiscal year 2018, we deleted the most sites from the National Priorities List in 1 year since 2005. This year, we are on track to delete even more, breaking that record. We're also reinvigorating our Brownfields program, which transforms contaminated sites into community assets. We recently announced nearly $65 million in Brownfield grants to 149 communities nationwide. 40% of these communities are receiving Brownfields funding for the very first time. And thanks to the President's historic tax reform package, we're prioritizing opportunity zones. Of the 149 grant recipients, 108 have identified sites designated as opportunity zones, including in cities such as Detroit and Green Bay. On air quality, we're helping areas across the country reduce air pollution and meet the nation's air quality standards. On water, we're helping communities modernize their water infrastructure. Since 2017, we've issued 8 water infrastructure loans totaling over $2 billion. These loans will help finance roughly $4 billion in water infrastructure projects and create 6,000 jobs. We've already invited an additional 42 projects to apply for additional funding. These projects will improve water quality for millions of Americans while creating high-paying jobs. We're equally committed to improving the health of our oceans. The USMCA contains an historic first-ever commitment to reduce marine litter. 60% of the world's marine litter comes from 6 Asian countries. We have the technology and the expertise to help these nations. The truth is, when other countries need help cleaning up their air, water, or land, they turn to us for assistance, not China, not Russia. We have the environmental laws, we develop the technologies, and we get the job done. America is and will remain the gold standard for environmental protection, and every American should know that our nation is cleaner, safer, and stronger today, thanks to the leadership of President Trump. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Andrew. Fantastic job. Who would have known that, Andrew? I'm glad you finally let people know what we're doing. We're working hard. I think harder than many previous administrations, maybe almost all of them. I'd like to invite Mary Newmeyer to the podium, and Mary has some terrific things to say, and I appreciate you being here, Mary. Thank you very much. Please.
President Trump, thank you for your leadership in continuing to advance environmental protection.
Thank you.
Over the past 2.5 years, President Trump has taken decisive action to address environmental challenges. At his direction, federal agencies are more efficiently implementing air quality standards, more actively managing our nation's forests to improve their health and reduce wildfire risks, promoting reliable water supplies and deliveries in the western United States, increasing federal coordination in the environmental review and permitting process, and efficiently managing federal operations to save energy and water, reduce waste, and cut costs. Under the President's leadership, across the federal government, agencies have continued to improve their energy and environmental performance and to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from federal operations. One of the many important areas where President Trump has taken action is with regard to ocean policy. Our country is blessed with some of the most beautiful coastlines in the world. Our beaches are places for our families to enjoy, especially at this time of year. Our oceans provide a way of life, support diverse marine species and habitats, and offer recreational opportunities. Our oceans also support the livelihoods of millions of Americans. Coastal communities depend on clean, healthy waters. Under President Trump's direction, agencies are improving the management of our ocean and coastal waters for present and future generations of Americans. A little over a year ago, President Trump signed an executive order directing federal agencies to improve coordination on ocean-related matters, work with state-led regional ocean partnerships, expand federal access to federal ocean-related data, and maximize the effectiveness of agency investments in ocean research. Federal agencies are working with state, regional, and other stakeholders to address coastal and ocean management challenges. The agencies are also prioritizing research to better understand and protect our coastal environment, to improve our knowledge of our vast oceans, and to develop next-generation ocean technologies. This fall, the administration will convene a summit to promote partnerships in ocean science and technology. The summit will showcase American leadership and engage the research community and the private sector to explore the unknown ocean, advance marine science, and promote new technologies. In addition to implementing the Save Our Seas Act signed by President Trump, our federal agencies have also prioritized addressing the harmful effects of marine debris. This administration has engaged with members of Congress, conservation organizations, the private sector, and other nations. It is critical that we effectively take action on this issue and improve the health of our oceans. The administration is committed to ensuring that we are good stewards of our environment while supporting American prosperity. We look forward to continuing to address our nation's environmental challenges and to improving quality of life for all Americans.
Thank you very much. What a great job you're doing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So a man who was very responsible for our tremendous success, salute to America, Department of Interiors. They kept you very busy, right, David?
Yes, sir.
David Bernhardt, come on up. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is an honor to serve a president who has been focused on conservation stewardship since day one. The president mentioned that he signed into law the largest public lands legislation in over a decade. Thank you all on your side. We are aggressively implementing this act, which among other things designated 1.3 million acres of public land as wilderness, as you said. To put that into perspective, 1.3 million acres exceeds the entire size of the state of Rhode Island. Today, the geographic area of our nation's wilderness system is actually larger than every state in the Union except for Texas and Alaska. We are ensuring that future generations receive the benefit of an enduring wilderness system. Mr. President, throughout your term, Interior has also been focused on strengthening the North American wildlife conservation model, which is the best in the world. The model was originally conceived by American hunters and anglers who were the first to crusade for wildlife protection and retain some of today's most important conservation leadership. The success of this model depends on a strong federal-state partnership and the continued commitment and participation of the hunters and anglers. These important relationships were frayed under the prior administration. In contrast, your administration has fostered stewardship collaboration by working with the states, not unilaterally, on our shared mission to conserve fish and wildlife and preserve their habitats for future generations. For example, since 2017 at Interior, we have released 292 million sport fish, which provide recreational angling opportunities while contributing to species restoration and recovery goals. We have removed 325 barriers, opening over 8,000 river miles for native fish through our National Fish Passage Program. Public access and outdoor recreation opportunities are critical for wildlife conservation. Since January 2017, across the refuge system, we have devoted more than $52 million to restore, retain, and enhance access to outdoor recreation sites and support habitat infrastructure. During that time, we've also opened or expanded hunting and fishing access to 385,000 of acres on refuge lands. And last month, we announced our plan to open or expand an additional 1.4 million acres in several national wildlife refuges and fish hatcheries for new hunting, fishing, and recreational activities. America leads. It's a big number. The reality is that America leads the world in wilderness and wildlife conservation efforts. And under President Trump's common sense leadership, every day at Interior, we are increasing access to our public lands, increasing recreational opportunities on those public lands, and enhancing our conservation efforts. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, David. I got to know this one, David. You I didn't know, but I got to know this one. He's a tough competitor on the campaign trail. He wanted this position. And we fought, and I said, you know, I want him someday. If I win, I'm going to get him in some capacity. And who's better to get than a man who successfully ran Texas for 12 years? Is that what it is? 12 years, right? Long time. Great state, and you did a great job. So I said, I want Rick Perry working for us. And he knows more about energy than anybody. Come on up, Rick.
Mr. President, I want to tell you that last Thursday was a big day for me. In the morning, I got to welcome my first grandson into the world. And that afternoon, I got to watch the President of the United States give one of the greatest history lessons that I've ever seen before, and to celebrate the American military like I've never seen it celebrated for. I am proud to be standing with you, proud to be working in this cabinet with these men and women. This is a great moment for America. It's a great moment for America for a lot of reasons. And today, I'm really proud to get to stand up here in front of America and of the world, for that matter, as they watch this, and to recognize how important today is, because the chance to tell a story that often doesn't get told in a proper way, and a story about what this administration is doing to clean up the environment, what this administration is doing on policies that are having an effect on our environment. At the Department of Energy, we have championed both the historic development of our nation's resources and the technological breakthroughs that are just literally cascading across this country in ways to use energy more cleanly, more efficiently than anyone ever thought possible before. We know that by investing in innovative solutions like carbon capture, utilization, sequestration, zero emission works like our nuclear power, exporting those technologies to other countries, and we're being able to share our technologies around the world of cleaner energy without surrendering one single fuel, one iota of growth, one iota of opportunity. That's what this president is all about. That's your record, Mr. President. We're seeing on your watch America become the #1 producer of oil and gas in the world. We're seeing emissions being reduced around the world. I was with some of our friends from the European Union and reminding them about what you're being able to do in this country with the innovation. We're being able to deliver liquefied natural gas to them so they can move away from these dirtier, burning, old, inefficient plants and bring a cleaner environment to those countries. You know, it's our national labs at the Department of Energy. Elaine, we've talked about this, and you've seen this through your years, where this technology, this technological revolution that is occurring, and we're not only increasing our energy supply, but we're making it cleaner. We're doing it in a way that the world is enjoying with us. So, and at your direction, Mr. President, DOE launched, as you mentioned earlier, the Water Security Grand Challenge. Using the power of competition, the Water Security Grand Challenge will spur innovation and advances in transformational technology that are going to meet the global need for, Mr. President, it's been your policies, it's been your focus that greater in enhancing our environmental stewardship. I think the world needs to look at your leadership. Look at what you've done. You know, for too long there's been this conventional wisdom that you got to choose between economic growth and environmental protection. That's a false choice. And it's one that you've talked about, Mr. President. It's always been this country, and this country that leads, just like you reminded people last Thursday, the greatness of America, the innovation of America, and the future of this world will rely greatly upon America and this administration. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
Yes, sir. And what Rick has done with our nuclear supply, nuclear energy, and all forms of nuclear has been absolutely incredible in a very short period of time. I want to thank you. That's fantastic. So important to the job you're doing. Thank you very much, Rick. When I ran for president, I pledged a strong, growing economy and a healthy environment because I believe that we can pursue both at the same time. We have only one America. We have only one planet. That's why every day of my presidency, we will fight for a cleaner environment and a better quality of life for every one of our great citizens. Above all, we will remain loyal to the American people and be faithful stewards of God's glorious creation from sea to shining sea. Thank you all very much for being here. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. If you liked our report, if you liked our coverage, and you are new to this channel, make sure that you subscribe and you click the notification bell. That way you can get notified when we go live. President Donald Trump talking about the environment and what he has been doing while he has been in office for the environment, and changing rules that were very unfair during the Obama administration. But now he's changing things around and stuff like that. So thank you so much once again for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. We hope that you guys join us on the next live stream. Right now, we're going to start filming quite a few videos for our second channel, Golden State Times Newsroom. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, folks, and I hope to see you guys here next time.